Welcome back, boys and girls. Welcome to Undrafted Hockey Fan. This is Brad, and I shaved my mustache. I didn't. I saved. I got the mustache. I had the full beard last time. This is just yesterday. This morning. I changed it up because we're doing the mustache for the Movember. For men's healthcare and prostate cancer. So, and this is I feel very firefighter. Like I feel like I can be a firefighter now that I got this and everything. I can be a cop. Be a cop. So. But today we're talking about a couple things. We're going to be talking about the Nashville Predators and some threats of having a rebuild, as well as Crosby being almost at 600 goals and McDavid hitting over 1,000 points and now at 1,001. And so we'll jump into a couple of those things today. But just to let you know, we are going to be doing one podcast a day for the rest of the year. So December 31st. I just posted one from yesterday. Today, posted this one as yesterday, being the 15th. I recorded yesterday. I did not post it, but we're gonna do November 15th, 16th, 17th. We're gonna run through all the way to the holidays. We're gonna hit Christmas Eve. There might not be that much to talk about, but I'll talk about stuff. I want to get a full blown audio. You guys can get a ton of content. You guys hear about a bunch of things, and we're gonna have guests and everything. We're gonna get a ton of people on here, so stay tuned. Maybe we'll continue this on if it's going well. Maybe we'll continue to January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Keep it going. Just, get one podcast a day and just kind of crank this stuff out. So let's jump into the Nashville Predators. Not looking too good for the Preds right now. One of the teams who went out and bought a ton this past year, made some big trades, big signings, and it's not really looking out that great for them. In the sense that they're just not doing well. I mean, right now, at one point they didn't have a win for I think 6 games in a row or something like that. And now they're currently, after 17 games played, they have 5 wins, 9 losses, and 3 ties for 13 points. That puts them at third worst in the division. They're actually tied with the Blackhawks, and they're tied with the San Jose Sharks, and they're only 1 point behind the Anaheim Ducks, who actually have 2 games in hand on them. So, point percentage wise, they're doing worse than the Anaheim Ducks. This is a tough squad. I mean, you have a team that went out and bought like crazy, that already had good pieces. Well, mind you, they they went to I think it was game 6 or game 7 last year against the Vancouver Canucks. So they were not expected to make the playoffs, but they went on a crazy was it 16 games no lose streak or something like that. 17, it was like something crazy. It was after that whole U2 fiasco, and basically what happened is that Nashville, they were doing terrible, and then they're going to Vegas, and they had this U2 trip. They were going to go to the Sphere, and then their GM Barry Trotz is like, nope, we're not going there. You guys suck right now. You guys don't deserve this. You didn't earn it. So no, we're not doing it. Like screw you. I don't care if we're not going. And it was the only time U2 is going to be there anymore. U2 is going to be able to do that. So and they'll be able to see him at the Sphere and everything, and it was a huge deal. And so now you have a team that is currently not doing well. Again, you're 13 points in 17 games. They're currently 4-6 at home, 1-3-3 at away. I mean, their goals for they only put in 41 goals. They've let in 56, a negative 15 goal differential, which is tough. And they're on a 2-game losing streak as of today, November 16th. And so I just want to kind of go over some of the guys they're having. Philip Forsberg is doing okay, but he's 13 points, 8 goals, 13 points in 18 games. You just need more. For a guy that like this, you're paying, I think, let's look what he's making. I mean, he's making a good chunk of money. I mean, I think upwards of 8 or 9 million, I believe. Go here. Let's see. Forsberg, $8.5 million. This guy needs to play. This guy needs to make more or put more goals in. And that's your best. So Roman Josi, 12 points in 18 games. Again, he was over a point per game at one point for that's just not acceptable for him. I mean, based on what we typically see for a defenseman, it's usually pretty good. 12 points in 18 games is pretty good. Kale McCarr is kind of the outlier there. He's got like a point. He's got an assist per game, which is crazy. Ryan O'Reilly, 10 points in 18 games. Marshall Show, you all go out there, you pay Marshall Show $5.5 million for the next 4 years. I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Yeah. So what's the problem? What's the issue? You got your move clause for the next 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. 3 years you got no move clause. So I'm like, what? you brought these guys, and I understand there's like a gel out period, right? Like you have these guys, they're brought these new guys in, so they they bring in Brady Shea, bring in Marcia Show, they bring in Stamkos, and you make all these players moves, and I get it, like, but that's the idea around training camps. Like, the idea around training camps and getting these guys acclimated. You have pregame or preseason games. You guys need to be better. You guys can't be tied with the Blackhawks, who are in the middle of a rebuild, who did buy a lot this summer. San Jose, who did make some good trades and bought a little bit. Like they brought in Toffoli, brought in Wenberg. You know, and they have they have Celebrini who's coming in. But overall, this is not a recipe for success. I mean, if I asked, do you think if I asked you last year, is Nashville going to be a playoff team? They'd be like, of course. They made the playoffs last year, and then they bought this summer. Of course they would do it. Like, I don't understand why is that a question of whether they would be. Of course. I mean, of course. So, and look at this. Mind you, there's a couple guys I want to kind of go over just to show you the impact of what ended up happening. They end up signing Scott Wedgwood for a 2-year deal. That's good. That's a good deal. Bring in Alex Carrier for a 3-year deal. You bring in Marshall for a 4-year deal at $5.5 million. You bring in Brady Shea, 7-year deal at $7 million. Like, that's a big contract for a defenseman, a UFA defenseman. You extend Saros 8 years at 7.45 or 7.74. You bring in Stamkos at $8 million a year. Like, that's a lot of money, dude. Like, it is. I mean, you made some big moves. Everyone else is basically just like ELCs or just like small 1-year deals. But really, when you're loading up your team like this, the top two of the highest forwards on your team are Stamkos at $8 million and Marcia at 5.5. I just don't understand what needs to happen. They need another U2. They really just need another U2 event, because when you bring in all these contracts like this and bring these guys, you do this, and they're not young guys either, right? You're looking at a guy like Stamkos, 34, Marcia, 33. You're looking at Brady Shea as 30, Wedgwood's 32. You aren't bringing in like young blood, and you're paying these guys an extraordinary amount of money to be able to be better, right? Stamkos, I think he had 40 goals last year. I mean, like, let's all look him up real quick. So, Steven Stamkos, like he had 40, and I almost guarantee he had 40 goals actually, because I remember it being like a huge deal. Like, oh my god, they're getting a guy that did this well last year. Scrolling down, yeah, 40 goals and 41 assists, 81 points in 79 games, point per game player, and now you're putting up less than that half a point per game. Get out of here. Like to me, I don't understand. So if we do Jonathan Marcia Show, right? Like, another guy. By the way, Conn Smythe winner for the Vegas Golden Knights, Stanley Cup winner. You're looking at Stamkos as well, Stanley Cup winner as well. 69 points, 42 goals last year, 82 games, and 69 points. What? Like, he's at 3 goals in 18 games. Like, that's basically 15 goals. Like, he's producing at a third of what he did last year. And you don't pay these guys to not perform. That's I just don't know what you have to do to shake these things up. And so there's real talks of them going into a rebuild. And I think that is crazy to me. Like, it's like, you crazy that you buy all these guys, and like, also, like, who are you going to trade? Like, there's like, I mean, there's going to be small guys around the edges you're going to be able to trade. I like the Alexander Carrier. Like, maybe you trade like Luke Shen. Like, he's an option as well. Like Jeremy Lauzon. Michael McCarrion, like Colton Sissons, like Gustav Nyquist is fine. Like, there's a couple of guys that you can do this stuff with, but it's just around the edges. You have these main pieces that need to be, like, they need to be, something needs to happen. Because the thing is the funny thing is actually, I think I was one of those people that was pushing for Nashville to go into rebuild before. Like, it was the same way that I felt about Winnipeg, when I thought Winnipeg should have gone to rebuild, and they decided, nope, we're going to sign Scheifele and we're going to sign Hellebuck. And now look at me, egg in my face. They're, Winnipeg Jets are 15-2-0. Only 2 losses, 1 to Tampa, 1 to Toronto. What's better than beating the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? And so, to me, like, those are my instincts of like, man, like, I think there's some teams that are good, but are you a Stanley Cup contender, right? Like, you look at the models, you look of like what the grit. You need a lot of grit, and you need like high talent players and a lot of grit. And I think Vegas Golden Knights have shown that before. When Colorado won, they showed that as well. Florida Panthers, of course, like even Tampa was tough to play against. And to me, I just don't see that same model with the Winnipeg Jets. And I don't see it with Nashville. Like I think they have some pretty good skill players. I don't have they have that grit. And that's my issue right now is that I'm just like, I don't see the long-term aspect of this. I just don't see, but like to me, if they're going to do a retool, not a rebuild, they call, Barry Trotz called it a rebuild. To me, it's going to be a retool. If anything, they're one of the best teams to be poised for this because they have 3 first-round picks. They have either San Jose or Vegas's from the Askarov trade. Mind you, last past year, they made a big trade in the offseason where they signed UC Saros 8 years, right? So you have your main goaltender, but in the wings, you had Yaroslav Askarov, who requested a trade because he's like, hey, I'm ready to graduate the AHL. I'm like right there. Like, I'm not going to have an opportunity with a guy who you signed for the next 8 years. You're blocking me here. And which totally makes sense. So Yaroslav Askarov, one of the best goalie prospects in the AHL, I says, hey, I want out. So they trade him with Nolan Burke in a third for Magnus Krona, another prospect for Nashville or for San Jose, a goalie prospect. David Edstrom, who was originally a Vegas Golden Knights asset, first round pick. I think it was 2023 first round pick. He was traded from Vegas to San Jose. Now San Jose to Nashville in like under a year. It's crazy. Plus the first round pick. So they're getting either Vegas's, I believe. I'm gonna pull the full details real quick. The first round pick is either, if top 10 protected, San Jose will have a choice to send Vegas's or their own first round pick. So yeah, it'll be one of them. So but anyways, that was a huge trade. And so like what's the plan? Like I just don't know what the plan is here, because I like either you got to commit one way or the other. And really they one of the things they talk about is they say it's like if you are not in a playoff spot by American Thanksgiving, there's like a 80% chance you're not going to make it. It's crazy high. The thing is you can't make the playoffs in November, December, but you can miss, like you can't make the playoffs, but you can miss the playoffs. Absolutely. Because you get a bad start. I mean, like look at some teams that are already off to bad starts. You're looking at Anaheim, San Jose, and Chicago probably not going to play the playoffs. The same company is the Nashville Predators right now, right? They're looking at similar company as like the Blue Jackets and the Penguins and the Montreal Canadiens, and you're like, oh yeah, those guys are trying to make the playoffs. You're like, well, Nashville's in the same company as them right now, so you have to wonder what's the plan, and that's kind of where I'm like, if you want to retool, fine, retool, but again, you're gonna upset the locker room real bad. But so you're upsetting the locker room. My apologies. You're upsetting the locker room, but if the guys aren't performing, you pay the guys to perform. That's what the money's for, is to perform. So to me, if you're not performing, that's on you. And as Barry Trotz, you've given me no choice but to, like you give me no choice but to like go and make moves, because I bought you guys for I bought these high contracts so that you guys can come and make me in the playoffs, and you're not doing it, then we'll just skip it. That's fine. And so for me, and they have 3 first rounders and 2 second rounders. This would be a great year to be able to make some moves. Mind you, they could actually take some of these and make a big trade if they're looking to acquire someone. If I were them, I don't know if I would get someone that's just like a 1-year contract. I think you want to get someone that's going to stay for a little bit, that was willing to resign. But like to me, I just don't know. Again, I keep saying what the plan is, but like I want to see action items here. And what other trades are they going to make? What other things are they going to do to shake out the roster? So there's a couple things you can do that I've talked to my wife about this. And I've heard this on the Wing Wheel podcast where they say the couple things you can do to shake up a roster to really try and get them going is you can scratch a guy who doesn't maybe deserve to be scratched, a high veteran guy. So again, I'm very familiar with the Red Wings. So we saw what they did is they ended up scratching. They brought in a guy called Eric Gustafsson, who was their offensive defenseman, and he was supposed to take over for Shane Gostisbehere. and he sucked. He was not playing well, and so what they did is they scratched him. And so when you scratch him, you say, "Oh, we're sending a message, okay, guys. Anyone can be scratched." That's what you're saying, which I love. I love that. Good. Send a message. Good. And then you find out, like, you end up doing is you end up waiving a guy because you're like, hey, we got to send you down the minors. You're not playing well enough. It was Billy Husso. They actually Justin Hall. They ended up I think he went down for like a game, but Billy Husso, he's got waived, didn't get claimed, played some AHL games, got called up on emergency conditions, but he is in the AHL now, and he's got a home. He's got a home in Detroit, and he's got to play in Grand Rapids now. So that's tough on the family. That's tough on him. He's having to drive back and forth to practice, or he's probably staying at a hotel right now, not being able to see his family. That's tough on guys, right? Who was in the NHL all last year and has been in the NHL for a couple of years now at this point. And you're an asset that Red Wings wanted. They traded a 3rd round pick to be able to sign this guy. And so to me, so that's another one. So who are they going to waive? Who is Nashville going to waive? You say, nope. Like, you want to waive someone that's not going to get claimed. Who do you? Let's see. Let's look at the list right now. I mean, not doing Stamkos. You're not doing Forsberg. You're not doing Marchessault. You're not doing Riley. You're not doing Maybe you do Tomas Novak. Let's look at the standings real quick with them. Tommy Novak. No, he's like I don't know if you do him either. So Colton Sissons, maybe he's goofy. He's got a -13. Colton Sissons plays 14 and a half minutes. He's a -13. He's got 2 goals, but dude, that is tough. And they just waived Dante Fabro as well. There you go. So they waive a guy, Dante Fabro, hoping that he goes to the AHL. Columbus Blue Jackets claim him. So there's your waiver guy right there. They waived Dante Fabro, and he's gone now. He's on the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's gone. So, and maybe they get him back later, because Columbus is like, no, we're good. We tried the experiment. He's got. Let's look at his most recent. I think he hasn't played since. So he's got 8 games he's got 1 point. Do you have 1 point with the Nashville? So he played 2 games with Columbus. He's got 1 point. Okay, already have a point per game with the Columbus Blue Jackets, which is crazy. So what are you gonna do? So you waive a guy, which something the Red Wings did. Then you bring up a young guy. They did. They brought Zachary Leroux up. I don't think he played much. I think he's got he's got 13 games. He's got 13 games. This kid does. He's 21, 3 points. It's fine. Like, good. Like, he's a young kid. He's a left winger, probably playing 3rd line stuff. Like, so you bring the young kids. Like, next thing you have to do is you fire the coach, or you make a big trade. Like, and that's like, you just brought these guys in. Who are you going to trade? Like, what assets do you want to trade? Maybe, is it Gus Nyquist? Maybe he's 35. You're not going to get much for him. Like, who are you trading? Like, you're not trading any of your goalies. You have Wedgwood and Saros. Like, what's the plan, guys? Like, I just don't know what the next move is to kind of shake this up, because you just have, like, just think about this. They have, just to win their next, let's pull up their standings again. Just to get to 500, they have to win their next 4 games in a row. Like, what makes you think they're going to do that? In their last 10, they're 3-4-3. They're at an under 500 record in the last 10 games. So I just don't know how you bounce back from these. And maybe it's just not the year. Maybe that's just it. Maybe it's just not the year for them. And I feel for Barry Trotz, because what he did is he's like, okay, you guys proved it last year. You want to go for it? Let's go for it. I'll bring in some guys. I'll bring in Stamkos, a 40-goal scorer just last year. I'll bring in Marchessault, 40-goal scorer, Conn Smythe winner. I think also Stamkos might have won a Conn Smythe as well. Or was it? I think it might have been Hedman and Cooch, or Vasilevsky. I mean, anyways, either way, he's Stanley Cup winner multiple times. So what are you doing? What's the plan? Like, I just don't know how to save your season here. So anyways, that's just a bit of my frustration. And I want them to do good, because Nashville's fun. They're a fun team. They're high energy. Like, they have some really good players. I'm a soft spot for Nyquist because he's a Red Wing. But to me, I just don't know what's happening with this shit show. It's a little frustrating. So it's giving sad. It's giving sad. That is definitely what it's giving. So Anyways, we're gonna jump into a quick break and do a couple of sponsors and everything, and we'll jump right into this. And so stay tuned. All right, jumping right back into this, I wanted to touch base on a signing that ended up happening this past week. We have Braden McNabb ended up signing for 3 years with the Vegas Golden Knights. He signs, I'm looking it up right now. Let me pull it up real quick. Braden McNabb, by the way, originally a third-round pick by the Buffalo Sabres, ended up being traded from the Buffalo Sabres with Jonathan Parker and 2 second-round picks for Nick Deslauriers and Hudson Fasching from going to the LA Kings. So played with the LA Kings for a little bit for, I believe it was 2 years. Let me just pull this up again. Played for 2 years. Where are you at, buddy? I lost it. Anyways, played there for 2 years and then ended up getting picked up in the expansion draft. So he's an original misfit. 33 years of age, been with the team for quite a while. This past season has 2 points in 17 games. So a little slow, but again, his role isn't much to put up much points. Last year he had 26 points in 82 games. The year before that he had 17, and the year before that he had 18. So he's not a huge point getter, but that's okay. Again, he's proven his worth, and again, it's proven that he's worth the money and that he's signed a 3-year contract at $3.65 million per year. So again, I think this is exciting because he's also got no move clause in there, 10-team no trade, or he says he's got a no move clause for next year. The year after that, he has a 10-team no trade clause. And the year after that, he has a 5-team no trade clause. So, but again, at that point, he's going to be 35, 36. So he's going to be, he's 37 when this ends, actually. So to me, this is a great deal. I mean, I think he's an original misfit. They traded most of them, honestly, and it's kind of a bummer, but it is good for Vegas. They seem to know what they're doing. They seem to like the kid. He's 1 year younger than me, which is crazy. So these hockey players are just getting so young. I'm getting older, and they're just staying young. So good for Vegas. Again, and Vegas is off to, I think they got a pretty hot start recently. Yeah, they're first in the the Pacific. Sorry, 16 games, 22 points ahead of the Los Angeles Kings, who have 21 points in 18 games. So Knights have more points in less games than pretty much everybody, which is exciting. So Vegas Golden Knights getting a good bounce back here, looking like they're playing really well, and they're finally clicking. So again, if you got things that are going well and you can get a guy under a good deal like this, I mean, it's working out really well. I think that's actually that's quite a bit for a Braden McNabb, but I mean, if they're happy with him, then I'm happy for them. So anyway, I love that. So moving on to the next subject, we wanted to talk about Crosby. Crosby actually has 2 games this up and coming. They're up and coming, but right now he is close to 600 goals. Very few people have done it in the league. By the way, can we talk about how great Crosby is? As a Red Wings fan, I'm supposed to hate him and have such a hard time. By the way, I'm looking at these. I'm supposed to hate Crosby, and my wife and I were from Michigan, and so I'm like, hey, do you want to go to Canada? Like, we're day trip. It's like Thursday. I'm like, you want to go to Canada? She's like, what for? And I'm like, well, Tim Hortons has these collector cards, and we went and we got some cards, right? And I was like, I was like, how many? She's like, how many you want? I'm like, I don't know, like 10. So we got like 10 bags of cards. And I was like, we opened them all up, and I gave a fun fact. Actually, I did a whole video on the fun fact of all the cards. But I was like, you know, it's so much fun. That was so much fun. We should do it again. And meaning not again, like a second trip. During that same trip, we bought another 10 cards. So I have like 20 packs of cards, and of course they have Sidney Crosby on them. It was again the star that we're talking about. The star that we are talking about. My apologies, to pull the headphones down. But yeah, so he has 598 goals in 1,291 games, over 1,600 points. Madness! I'll tell you, it's just madness. To me, it's honestly, it's crazy that I'm actually let's pull him up. I'm curious. he's got to be top points getter. So like NHL points leaders all time, because he's got to be up there. We'll go to Quant Hockey. I haven't used him before. So the Sidney Crosby, 10th overall in points ever. He's only 27 points away from Joe Sakic if beating him. I mean, he'll do that this year. And he's about 109 points away from Mario Lemieux. He'll do that next year. Dude, he's so close, dude. He's going to be, let's see, if he plays this year, next year, and the year after, he's been a point per game player. He's probably got like 60 games left this season, plus 82. So you're looking at 220 games. So adding 220 more points, let's assume low, right? He'll be at 1,832. That would put him 5th overall in points ever. Crazy, because it's just, honestly, it's mind blowing that's a thing right now. So like, I can't believe it. I honestly can't believe it. So I'm supposed to hate Sidney Crosby, but I'm always fascinated with him because I thought he would have been here sooner if he hadn't had those concussion issues and everything. I mean, and same with Ovechkin. He would have beat Wayne Gretzky's goal record already at this point. But it's a huge milestone. 600 goals is actually, I'm curious because I don't even know how many people have had 600 goals ever. Let's go. We'll rank it. Again, we're using Quant Hockey right now. At Sidney Crosby right now is 21st in all goals all time. And he'll beat Yari Curry at 601 this season, and Dino Ciccarelli at 608. I mean, he could be Brett Hull soon, actually, dude, which is crazy. Dude. Just think of the names that are on these lists and everything. By the way, side note, Ovechkin is 31 goals away from Wayne Gretzky. That's pretty much a goal every other game for the rest of the season. I think he does it this season. I do. I genuinely do. These are great. These are fun milestones. They're just cheeky. They're a great time, ton of fun, and we love seeing it. And then one of the other ones I want to talk about, another record that was just recently broken, is we saw Connor McDavid hit 1,000 points, 1,001 points actually in the same game, from his boy Leon Draisaitl. That puts Connor McDavid at 20. See, 27 years old. 27. He has a 99th most points in the league. He's a top 100 player already. Just in points. He's already a top 100 player. And just to give you some perspective on that, he was the fourth fastest player to reach 1,000 points in 669 games. It's just nuts. There's one other one I wanted to show you, but 669 games. And just to give you an idea of how good Gretzky was, he did that. He hit 1,000 points in his 424th point by like 200 games. Gretzky did it, beat McDavid, and McDavid's playing against the best competition in the league right now. So best of competition ever. Let's be honest. Like there's no one that has beaten no one like the competition of your average hockey. If you drop a third liner now in the NHL back in like the 80s, like, oh, they're gonna be like Wayne Gretzky because they've been bred since they were 3 years old. They're gonna look like an all-star for every year for the rest. They'll probably be a top goal scorer, top point getter. They'll be like qualifying really hard just because these guys are different. These guys are different in the sense that they're the players that play better are the best players I've ever played, which is crazy to me. So, just to give you an idea, also and Paul Coffey, and I imagine Connor McDavid will be beating them within their first 10 seasons. Jesus Christ, he is so good. Connor McDavid is so stupidly good. It's infuriating. It's impressive, and I'm so happy. He has to win a cup, right? He has to win a cup eventually, right? I mean, I'd be furious if he never won a cup. I think he just has to. I'm curious. I want to go to. He's at 341 points. I want to see where he sits in goals. I'm curious now. 341st, because I don't think he's top 100 in that sense. 341st. No, he's not. He's definitely not. He is 173rd. Okay, and actually Nathan McKinnon's ahead of him right now. Matt Duchene, Claude Lemieux, Dave Pastrnak, but he's ahead of Pacioretty, which is impressive, and he's ahead of Kucherov. So, but again, we know this guy can turn it on. He put up 60 points just because he wanted to. He put up 60 goals because he just wanted it 1 year, and then he's like, I'm gonna take it back. I'm just gonna go back to my normal stuff. And he is a god on skates. And Leon Draisaitl just talked about how he's the best player to ever play. He's the best player that he's ever played with. So I can absolutely see him just. I mean, he's going to be going down on Mount Rushmore. He'll be the only one, in my opinion, up to now that we can actually see, depending on health, that he'll actually compete with Wayne Gretzky's point record. Like genuinely, he won't beat it, but he'll be up there in like second for sure. So. Anyways, I want to do one more thing. We'll go one more segment after this, and we'll jump back, do one more ad break, and then we'll end this bad boy. All right, we're back, and I just want to lastly rant on the Detroit Red Wings again. I'm a Red Wings fan, so you're probably gonna get you're gonna get Red Wings content for the rest of the year. Not no guarantee. I like talking about other teams. We already talked about a couple other teams already today. But to me, the Red Wings just played last night. They're one of the most frustrating teams in hockey because last night's game, they go to California. The versus a league worst Anaheim Ducks. And Anaheim Ducks at this point had 5 wins, 8 losses, and 2 ties or 2 overtime losses. Red Wings come in first period. You get a great goal by Berggren, and you get Casper. Awesome goals. You know, Ducks get one early though. They had the first goal. It was very quick, and so it's a 2-1 in the first period. And I was like, oh, I think the Red Wings look good. I mean, they're playing really well. Anaheim's fighting back really well. They end up in the second period, it goes 1-1, or they goes 1 goal each. So now you're sitting at 3-2 going in the second period. I'm like, oh, dude, Red Wings got this. It's totally fine. So like, I ended up dozing off. It was a late night game, right? So the game started at 10 Eastern time, 10 or 10:30 Eastern time. And so when it got late, like I was gone. I went to pick up my wife. And so I was like, oh, dude, it'll be fine. Like, they're gonna win. It's the Ducks. Like, you'll get up for the Ducks. It's not a big deal. Like, and to me, I was like, what would a successful road trip? Because mind you, they're going to California. They're doing the Ducks, LA Kings tonight. The game starts in about 10, 15 minutes. So that's about how much time you got with me left. And then you have the San Jose Sharks, not tomorrow, but the day after that. So that would be Monday. So I'm like, okay, 3-game road trip in California. You have Ducks, who are shit. You have San Jose, who are pretty shit as well, and the LA Kings, who are playoff contenders. What would be a great outcome for this? Well, you'd like 2 wins out of 3. You like 2 solid wins, so you want to get at least 4 points out of 6. If you lose to LA, like, that's understandable. You shouldn't lose to the Ducks, and you shouldn't lose to San Jose. And so in the third period, again, I missed the third period. I watched the replays, but in the third period, Red Wings put up 1. Ducks put up 4 goals. 4 goals on the Wings. Alex Lyon did not have a good game, but that's tough. That's tough. There's some ones you want back. The Petrie Sherratt pairing looked not great either. But to me, I'm like, what needs to happen? You're not even a 500 team right now. Like, and I'm of the mind that, so there's Steve Dangle talks about this all the time. You don't want to be bad on accident. You want to be bad on purpose, right? So what has happened with Nashville, you don't want to be bad on purpose. That's not good. But if you're bad intentionally, Blackhawks, Ducks, San Jose, like those are intentional. Like, Montreal does not try to be bad on purpose. They just happen to be bad right now. Mind you, they're in a stacked Atlantic Division, which is what also the Red Wings are. They're stuck in the Atlantic Division with all these great teams that are playing phenomenal. Actually, let's go to the standings right now, because again, they lost yesterday. So I watched look at the standings yesterday, and let's see how they're refreshed. Let's see where Detroit's sitting now. They're still, so Flyers won that yesterday. Oh, it's actually, we're gonna go to, let's pull up the divisions. Red Wings are, so before they had 15 points. Oh no, they're still shit. They're still 7th in the division. Who's ahead of them? Sabres are ahead of them. Sabres, Senators, and Lightning all have 17 points. Boston has 19. Maple Leafs have 22, and Florida has 23. Like, there's such a comfortable distance. You're just to be in a wild card spot, you would need 18 points. So you need 3 points right now. Like, you need to come out. If everyone else in the conference loses, you need a win and an overtime loss just to compete and get into a position where you can kind of be in the mushy middle. But like, you have to win 60% of your games right now, because you're already behind. You're not even a point per game right now. Like, in the sense that you're like, you're 15 points in 16 games. You're below 500. You're below 500 right now. So to me, I don't know what's left to shake up with this team. You've waived guy. So you've sacked guys. You've sat Petrie. You've sat Gustafson. So you said, hey, you veterans, I don't care. You can be sat. Now you're like, well, let's waive a guy. Waive Huso. You waive Justin Hall. Justin Hall ended up staying up. He went down for a hot second, came back up. He's playing okay now. He's manageable. He's a 6'7" He's a right-handed defenseman, so which comes at a premium, which is why they paid so much for him, by the way. Spoiler alert. Huso not looking good. Huso was not looking good. He was injured all last year. Played like 2 games. He got called up for a hot minute, but he's looking terrible. He got waived, brought up in emergency conditions, and they sent back down. He's back to the AHL. So, and then now you've sat guys, you've waived the guy. Well, let's bring up young guys. Let's bring up some young guys who maybe can make an impact on this team, show that spots can be lost. Well, you're gonna have Berggren and Johansson, who have to be up because they can't be waived anymore. And if they did get waived, they would get claimed. I'm almost guarantee it. So you're like, well, let's bring up Casper. Casper's looking good as a 3C. He's playing with Tarasenko and Berggren. He's looking good. He has first NHL goal last night, which is awesome. We'd love to see that. Not producing like you'd like him to see, but he's a rookie. That's fine. That's okay. He's looking good right now. So you're like, okay, well, listen, veterans, one of your spots can be taken, and a rookie's taking it right now. And lastly, they're like, okay, well, I guess we got to move a guy out. We got to trade. We got to make a trade or something like that. Like, there's 2 ways. You can trade a guy out, or you can trade for a guy to come in. They end up trading a guy out. They send out Ole Mata, get a 3rd-round pick for them, send to Utah Hockey Club. So the only other thing, there's 2 other options left to shake this team up. And it is you either trade for a guy who's going to make an impact on this roster, which probably means trade out a roster player, which means probably Berggren is probably gone because that's probably your only guy you can actually trade on the roster that has enough value and is expendable enough, I'd say. That doesn't have a no move clause or anything. You're not trading anything on your top line. You're not trading Raymond, Edmondson, Sider. You can't trade Petrie. He's got a no trade clause. You can't trade Schreier. He's got a modified no trade clause. You can't trade Justin Hall. He has a modified no trade clause. You can't trade Tarasenko. He just got here. You're not trading Patrick Kane. Like, and all your 4th line guys, you're not trading either. So Berggren's probably the only guy with actual quality that you can actually trade for. Use him as a trade piece. And so that means you're bringing a forward back, you're bringing a D back. Like there's just no shakeup you can do besides trading for a guy or firing Derek Lalonde. Grew, as we call him so affectionately in Detroit. And to me, I think this might be his last year anyways. But to me, what's the expectation? Is it playoffs? Because to me, it wasn't playoffs. If it was playoffs, you would have brought in bigger talent. You filled the gaps of talent. You brought into Tarasenko. Talbot's looking phenomenal. That was a great pickup. Such a good pickup. Tarasenko's not panning out. He's not scoring like he needs to be. Kane's not producing like he needs to be. The top line's the only one that's producing. They need to be producing better, but they're the only ones that are producing. Gustafsson, you're supposed to be an offensive defenseman. What is happening? Tell me, because I just don't know what do we need to do? What needs to, like, you need to grab by the balls and pull them and say, hey, get your shit together. Fucking shake them a little bit, like these guys need to get I think they just need to get their asses handled. Like they need to lose 8-2. Like, I hope Anaheim kind of shook them up because you get 4, they let 4 goals in at the end. Like, goaltending is one thing, but you allow those types of situations to happen. That's on you as a team. Actually, let's look at the plus minuses. I'm curious. I mean, I think some of these were actually ended up being they don't have it on Google. Never mind. I'll look it up. Sorry. They against the Ducks, like, you should be a bit ashamed to lose to the worst team in the league. And this happened, by the way, this actually happened last year. Was it last year or the year before? So my wife and I'm a Sharks fan as well. I like the Sharks. I'm glad they're going to retool. That's great. So what ended up happening is that I went there and I wore my Erik Karlsson jersey, and I love Erik Karlsson. Big fan. My favorite player outside of the Red Wings. Or Yeah, so the Red Wings current active player, my favorite player is Sider, and then Larkin and Raymond, of course, but Erik Karlsson's my favorite outside of the Red Wings organization. And so to me, I'm like, okay, like Sharks, I wear my jersey there, and it is Red Wings go up 5-0 against the Sharks. I'm like, huh, like I was like, oh my God, we're losing our mind. I'm wearing my Sharks jersey, by the way, too. Like, because it's the only time the San Jose Sharks come to the a rink. And I was like, well, this is the only time I get to wear this jersey because they're actually here. And so I wore the jersey and I was like, I don't really have a good feeling about this. I was like, dude, like, what are you talking about? They're up 5-0. Like, I just don't feel good about it. And I watched San Jose score 6 unanswered goals for the Red Wings to lose. And I was like, you got to be fucking serious. Are you fucking serious? Because I was losing my mind. And that's how like looking at the score and everything, like I'm looking at what happened is you have Owen Zellweger scores right at the start of the period. Love that for him. Big fan of Owen Zellweger. Olin Zellweger. Big fan of him. I like Leo Carlsson as well. And then you get Marco Casper, power play. Awesome. Red Wings power play is killing it. Berggren, power play goal. Awesome. That's the first period. That rounds out the first period. Lucas Raymond gets second period goal. Awesome. Zegras gets power play goal. I understand that because the Red Wings have one of the worst. They were 30th in power penalty kill. And that would make sense. They're also getting scored on the power play. Then you have Troy Terry scores on the power play. Not surprised at all. Cutter Gauthier and Ross Johnston both get their first. You get like, all these first points and first goals. Cutter Gauthier and Ross Johnston both get their first goals of the year against the Red Wings. Jansen Harkins and Drew Helson both their first assists, like first points of the season, or first assist of the season. Of course they do. And then again, DeBrincat gets a power play goal, making it 4-5. So you're getting close. And then they have dinner by Ryan Strome. So to me, I'm just like, I'm so frustrated because again, you either like you do the things you need to do so that you can be good, or you just stagnate. Like then you move guys off, or you waive guys, you trade guys, and you bring young guys up and they can learn. To me, the young guys that are up are the ones that deserve to be up. Casper is one of them, right? Evanson is one of them. To me, Mazur's not ready. Danielson's not ready. Hannes isn't ready. Costa's not ready. Like, but these are all guys that you need to make room for next year. And there will be some room. Some guys will be moving out, right? But or maybe some guys are being bought out or being traded. Like there are options here, but I just don't know. I don't know what to do. And that's my issue is that I'm like, because I just don't know what's the goal here. Because if you're going to make the playoffs, act like you're going to make the playoffs. But you're not going to trade a first round pick for a guy so you can get kicked out of the first round. So maybe you need to trade out a first round pick like you did to get Alex DeBrincat, who's working out well. He looks like he's worth it, in my opinion. And everything they sent out. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm a little frustrated. I'm a Red Wings fan that wants to see him do well. I just want to see them do well. And I don't know what the plan is with Stevie. Just talk to me, Stevie. Talk to the fans. Give us a health update. Like, just say, hey, like the plan is this, or just give us an idea of what you're trying to strive for. Because I feel a little lost as a Red Wings fan. I'm a little lost, and I'm not going to stop watching them. I still think they're on the up and up. To me, they're still on a rebuild, but I'm getting conflicted where I'm like, what, like, because firing the coach doesn't seem like the right move. Like, I think you ride them out. One, because like you're not trying to make the playoffs. Like, at least in your efforts and the moves that you have or have not made. Like, they haven't made any big moves to, like, besides the Brinkat, which was a couple years ago at this point. You're not making any big moves to do anything. So we'll see. Anyways, let me know what your thoughts are. Hit like, subscribe, put your favorite comment down there. Put your favorite emoji. Big fan of the chicken right now. Always a big fan of chicken. So let me know what your thoughts are. Hit like, subscribe, and love you. Catch you tomorrow, because we're doing our podcast recording every day for the rest of the year. So love you guys. Catch you later. and stay fresh. Do you enjoy the mustache? Let me know if you enjoy the mustache too. She's fly, dude. She's fly.